What is up, my Shadowverse soldiers, and welcome back to another Shadowverse Evolve video. Alright soldiers, so we're going to be moving on to the next set of craft scene. We're going to be looking at Runecraft. Alright, and first up we have Anne and Gray, a Mysterian duo. So they are 5 cost 4/4, and while there are at least 10 academic cards in your cemetery, this follower has Storm. And at the start of your end phase, if there are at least 10 academic cards in your cemetery, you can summon an Anne summoning token. When this card comes into play, you can discard 2 academic cards and select the enemy follower on the field and deal it 5 damage, and then draw 2 cards. Ready, Grayo? Right behind you, Anne. Yes, we have the legendary finally here in Shadowverse Evolve. Now, I'm very excited to play this in the academic deck, but 10 academics is just like something that you need in the deck. So as long as we have at least 8 before you play this card, you're going to be able to hit that 10 mark. You're able to draw those 2 cards back, which of course are probably going to be academic cards, while also dealing 5 damage and also swinging for 4 on that very same turn, and then spawning the Anne summoning token. Alrighty, next we have Lithium Anthemium of Audacity. So she's a 4 cost 4/4. You can evolve from 1. When she comes to play Fanfare, you can select enemy follower on the field and deal it 2 damage. And you can also activate for Earthright to give this follower a sail. Alright, so I didn't really rock this in Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, but I do like the art for this card. I did like the art for the unevolved, like the art for the evolve. And for this Fanfare though, I mean, 4 play points to deal 2 damage. And then to give this follower a sail, of course, you're probably going to go for the evolve in the very same turn. But unfortunately, I have peeked into the future for Runecraft here for Earthright, and I just believe that this card is really only good as a 1-of. Alright, but looking at Lithium Evolve, so she turns into a 5/5, but on Super Evolve, you can select up to 2 enemy followers on the field and destroy them. You can add 2 to a stack on your field, and then last words Earthright, you can summon this follower Engage. You can also activate again to Earthright to give this follower a sail. Alright, so I do believe that this card only works on Super Evolve. I think you can still evolve and get her as a 5/5 and she turns into an Earthright, you know, last words Earthright to summon her again. So you can run like multiple copies of the Evo just in case you're able to, you know, get Lithium again. But I do believe this is like on the unevolved side is only really good for like going for something unless you don't have enough damage to push into a follower, if you understand what I'm saying. So like, it's weird. Earthright is getting a decent amount of support this set with just the legendary alone, but I don't think this card is going to push it where it needs to be for next set. Alrighty, next we have Zivzadin, I think that's how you say that, Fate's Arbiter. So it's a 3 cost 3/3, you can evolve from 1, and at the start of your end phase, you can deal X damage each enemy leader, and X equals the number of other festive followers on your field. And then when this follower does come into play Fanfare, you can draw X cards, X equals the number of other festive followers on your field. Alright, so not sure if any of you soldiers actually did get into Festive Mage or Festive Runecraft, whichever you want to call it, but there's a combo when you do go for the Yakushima turn. So if you play Yakushima and then you play this 3 cost bird, I believe that is also another card that allows you to play a 3 cost Festive or 3 cost Mage. And then you can play Zivzadin right here, which allows you to probably draw 2 cards and then, you know, deal 2 damage to each enemy leader, which is pretty cool too. And then drawing 2 cards is also good as well. Alright, and then we have Fate Arbiter's Evolve. So it turns into a 4/4 and it still has at the start of your end phase deal X damage to each enemy leader. But on Evolve, you can select the enemy follower on the field and deal it X damage. X equals twice the number of festive followers on your field. Alright, so this card is kind of tricky. So on the end phase, you are going to be doing it for other festive followers, but on the on evolve, you're going to be doing it for all festive followers. So if you do the exact play line with the Yakushima and the bird, I can't exactly remember what the bird's name is. If any of you soldiers know in the comments, let me know. But if you manage to have the bird that allows you to play the Fate's Arbiter, you're going to be doing like 6 damage to an enemy follower on evolve, which is pretty good, while also building a board. Alrighty, next we have Edelweiss Sagelight Ward. So she's a 3 cost 3/3 and you can evolve her for 1. Alright, and looking at Sagelight Ward Evolve, so she turns into a 4/4 and whenever a golem follower is put onto your field, you can add 1 to a stack on your field. You can also on evolve to summon a strike form golem token and then put a guard form golem token into your EX area. But on super evolve, you can draw 2 cards. Alright, so I do believe if you are going to be running the golem version of Earthright, this is the one to be using, just because you're going to be playing a whole lot of golem followers and you're just going to be adding stacks as you're playing golems. So you'll have a whole bunch of stacks going for when you do go for bigger golem plays. I think it's pretty cool when you do go for the super evolve that you can draw 2 cards and then also summon a strike form golem and then put the guard form golem token into your EX area. But unfortunately, it's only going to add 1 to a stack on your field from this evolve effect. So, you know, don't really look too much into it when you do super evolve this. Alright, next up we have Juno Visionary Alchemist. So he's a 6 cost 3/3. You can activate to engage this card. You can Earthray. You can summon 2 Guardian Golem tokens. You can also activate 2 play points to discard this card and then add 2 to a stack on your field and then draw a card. Alright, so we finally have a new Juno card, and this card actually seems playable, and on top of that we do have a new Golem card. So being able to spend 2 play points to get this card out of your hand to really just help out with your game plan and playing with tempo, because this sometimes can just be a dead card in your hand. Being able to discard this, draw the card back, and then adding 2 to a stack on your field is just going to be straight value. Alright, so let us look at the new type of Golem token. So we have the Guardian Golem, so it's a 3 cost 3/5, and it has Ward and Last Words to give your leader +2 defense. And of course, with Juno being able to summon 2 of these on Earthright is actually going to be pretty difficult for our opponent to get through. So if we ward both of these up, they're going to have some sort of board wipe to get rid of both of our Golem tokens. And if they don't even banish these cards, we're going to at least heal 4. Alright, next up we have Homework Time. So it's a 1 cost spell. You can draw a card, and if there are at least 5 academic cards in your cemetery, you can put a Looking Smart token into your EX area. Alright, so it looks like the new 1 cost card kind of just dropped here for academic. Not sure if we're going to get rid of Mysterious Knowledge, but Homework Time is just a good 1 cost card, so being able to just draw a card, and then if we have the 5 academic cards, Looking Smart's going to probably allow us to draw and discard another card, and then being able to use things like being able to do 2 damage. Alright, and we're looking at the Looking Smart token. So it's a 0 cost spell, so you can select enemy fall on the field and deal it 2 damage, and then draw a card and then discard a card. Alright, so I'm absolutely loving this art here. Now we'll be looking for foils of this, but being able to just deal 2 damage is something a 1 cost spell was going to do. So essentially you get to draw a card, and then you get to put this Looking Smart into the EX area as long as we have those 5 academics, because come on, let's be serious, 5 academics isn't going to be anything in academics. So being able to deal 2 damage for free and then drawing a card and discarding a card, which will allow you to filter more academics. Alright, next up we have Penelope Potions Prodigy. So she's a 2 cost 2/2. You can evolve her for 1. When she comes into play, you can summon a Magic Sediment token. Alright, so this might be the new upgrade for Rabbit Mage. Alright, and looking at Penelope Evolve, so she turns into a 3/3, but on Evolve you can give your leader +2 defense, and you can add 1 to a stack on your field. Okay, so this doesn't do the exact thing Rabbit Mage does, as you can tell, but being able to heal 2 and then adding 1 to a stack onto your field. So if you're going to be using a lot of stacks in your game plan, I would suggest going for Penelope, but you know, you still have options to looking for more Earthray cards if you want to use Rabbit Mage. Alright, next up we have Miss Miranda Adored Academic. So she's a 2 cost 2/2, but when she comes into play Fanfare, you can discard an academic card and then draw 2 cards. So I don't know about you soldiers, but I think this card might honestly replace Craig, just because Craig does draw a card to discard a card, and it's going to cost you a total of 3 play points, and then on top of that, Craig can just get removed next turn, which is fine because we do want as many academic cards into our cemetery, but this does allow us to discard an academic card and just draw a little more. Alrighty, next up we have Snowman Army. So it's a 2 cost spell. You can select enemy fall on the field and change its attack and defense to 1, but if you have Spell Chain 10, it loses all abilities. Alright, so in Worlds Beyond, I really did use this to really stall out a card on the field because it wasn't able to attack. Essentially, this kind of does the same thing for 2 play points, which is cool, and then if you have Spell Chain 10, so putting this into the Spell Chain deck or anything like Kuon, it's just going to lose all abilities. So if it's something that really is going to generate a lot of value just being reserved, then you can do that. But mind you, it is still a 1/1, and you could use it potentially to just like block up a side on board just so your opponent doesn't really have much access to it. So you know, if there's ever a situation where you're not able to do a full remove turn for Spell Chain, probably most likely not, but if you can't do a full turn for Spell Chain, then this is a card you can look into. Alright, next up we have Starry Eyed Penguin Wizard. So it's a 2 cost 2/2, you can evolve it for 1. But looking at the Penguin Wizard evolve, so it turns into a 3/3, but on evolve you draw 2 cards and then you discard 2 cards. Well, look at that, Penguin Wizard is back, so it looks like we're going to be able to draw 2 cards and to discard 2 cards. Whenever we're playing Penguin Wizard, we're most likely going to be running Trail of Light in our deck. So being able to just pitch 2 cards and then one of them being Trail of Light, or even 2 of them being Trail of Light, we're able to just essentially like draw 4. Alrighty, next up we have Emilu, Witch of Wonder. So she's a 2 cost 2/3. When she comes into play Fanfare, you can choose 1. You can either 1, summon a Magic Sediment token, or 2, Earthright, select enemy fall on the field and deal it 3 damage. Alright, so this card might not be bad for tempo, and on for the fact that you're able to just choose one of these abilities, either summoning a Magic Sediment token if you're playing first, or if you're playing behind and you're going second, being able to just Earthright one of your Earthright stacks that you hopefully did establish on turn 1, if that's what you're supposed to be doing. Being able to deal 3 damage to an enemy follower is very good too. Alrighty, next up we have William, Mysterian Student. So he is a 4-cost 3/5. When he comes into play fanfare, you can select enemy fall on the field and deal it 4 damage, but you can also activate for 2 play points to engage its card, and you can select enemy fall on the field and deal it 4 damage. Now, I will say that this card was absolutely butchered from Worlds Beyond into Evolve. Just being able to spend 4 to deal 4 damage to something, and then spending an extra 2 play points to engage this, and then dealing another 4 to a follower. It just removed all the sense of board wipe that William kind of like cemented himself for Worlds Beyond. Now, if this did come out and Evolve and was used in the past, then, you know, by all means, but I will say that this card definitely got butchered. Alright, next up we have Sage Light's Teaching. So it's a 1-cost spell, you can choose 1, and if a follower in your field evolve this turn, you can choose up to 2 instead. You can 1, summon a Magic Sediment token, you can give your leader +1 defense, or you can 2, put a Guardian Golem token into your EX area. Alright, so I do like this card. You're able to choose 2 if you have an evolved follower that you did evolve this turn, and you can just spend the extra 1 play point that you might have to get a Magic Sediment token, healing yourself 1, and then also putting a Guardian Golem token that you can use in the later turns. Alrighty, and lastly we have Truth Summon. So it's a 3-cost spell, and you can Earthright to summon a Guardian Golem token. Alright, so I'm definitely going to be interested in building golems this next set, just because there's a lot of golem, just like a support. So if you're able to just spend 3 play points, which you can just sometimes spare, to spawn out a golem token, which will allow us to turn up a 3/5 with ward that allows us to heal for 2, and if you're able to put multiple on the field, then that's pretty good as well. Alright, so anyone with fans of academics, we have another U for academics. So if you're looking to play the 5-cost card, this is going to be the new one, the Anne and Graham Mysterian Duo. So if you're looking to max rarity your academic deck, then do be on the lookout for this. And alrighty, soldiers, that is all the cards for Runecraft. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to double up on crafts here so I can finish before we get into Friday. But I am very excited for Rune 2 come out. Now, I'm not super excited in testing out Earthright, which I did spend most of my day today and yesterday kind of like building like a format for Earthright, but I'll definitely be talking about it in the next week on how Earthright needs to be improved or what cards are kind of copium and stuff like that. But we'll look at some decks, of course, we'll get into it. But outside of that, I know Runecraft isn't really going to be in the best light for set 16, but hopefully we'll be able to cook and just put Runecraft on the map. But anyway, soldiers, make sure you are safe in whatever you do tonight and safe whatever you do for the rest of the year. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Yeah, TRINN, just to get you away. What I got to do, what I got to do, just to get you away. What I got to do, what I got to do, just to get you away. You pull me too close, now we hesitate. Every single move you make, it makes me feel